Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Looking for Love in All the Wrong Dust Jackets, a show where three disgruntled harpies talk to you about everything we love in romance, whether that's books, movies, TV shows, whatever we like. My name's Liz.
I'm Danny.
I'm Wiggles.
And welcome to the episode. Today we are discussing the movie Easy A for laughs and stuff. But before we get into that, I gotta warn you, I got to let the people know that we are crass and unhinged. We are terribly unladylike. We're gonna swear. We're gonna talk about all of the naughty times and just anything we find inappropriate, we're gonna laugh at. So, like, you've been warned. Make your choice now.
Yeah, dick
Absolutely.
jokes.
Wiggles, do you want to tell us some cool stuff about Easy A?
I so do. I have a list of things that I got from Business Insider because, you know, cite your sources, y'all.
Business Insider.
Listen, I don't know what they do normally, but this can't be it, right?
Guess not.
Anyway, so a couple of fun facts include that some of the main cast members who were cast as high school students never went to high school themselves because they're actors, and so graduated early by testing out and did that route. So this was their first high school experience. So there you go.
Okay.
Another is that globally the movie was not as well received because people were confused as to why, say in France, they were confused why a girl losing her virginity in high school would be a big deal. And there was also a little bit of a backlash, I guess, in India because they didn't understand clicks. And I'm like, must be fucking nice.
Right.
Natasha Bedingfield's Pocket Full of Sunshine was chosen because of how annoying it is. So sorry, Natasha.
Oh, I'm sure she made plenty of money off of this movie.
Right?
Oh, hell yeah.
So she's fine.
Right. I'm sure she was crying
It was
all the way to the
played
bank.
So much in
Right. Also, apparently Emma Stone I'm laughing for a reason, I swear, just hear me out. She had a medical emergency while filming the fake sex scene because she got too into it and had an asthma attack.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the reason I'm laughing is because she said, "Oh, for the love, I can't even simulate sex without dying. I had a little asthma attack without any prior knowledge that I had asthma during the scene where we had to jump up and down for hours and hours screaming and yelling on the bed. It was humiliating because it was the second day of shooting."
Why would you pick that scene to be the second day of shooting?
I don't know. But I just love that she's like, I didn't even know I had asthma, but you know what? Here we are. A sadder one. This is Easy A was Amanda Bynes' last on-screen appearance before she said, "I'm done with this fucking shit," and retired from acting. Yes. And this one I don't know about. So one of the writer's major regrets is about the way that Marianne's character was portrayed and that they leaned too heavily into the Christianity. Quote, "I never intended to make a statement about evangelical Christians. I wanted to make a statement about evangelicals and zealots. The adjective, not the noun. I wanted to poke fun at people in high school who were holier than thou. They already know everything. Unfortunately, I went more into the Christianity range, I think, because it was easier just to make Jesus jokes. But as somebody who grew up in a small town, it was on point.
See, and
Start to finish.
yeah, as somebody who grew up around a lot of very Christian people, and not saying that everybody's like this, but people who are honestly very much kind of like that.
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
on point. Like, it hit home.
It almost hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew a lot of feisty Christies like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of leave room for Jesus people.
Yes. And then my last fun fact that we can all mull over with curious hesitation is Easy A apparently has a spinoff in the works that was my face, which if you obviously can't see the face because you're listening, it's a disgruntled sort of scrunch that you do when you're confused and annoyed. So there's that. Apparently it would be set in the same high school and explore similar themes, but it would follow a new class of students. However, this reported in 2019 in the Hollywood Reporter, and this article came out in 2021. So who knows, that might have been...
Well, COVID happened around then and everything went to hell.
So that might have been abandoned. Who knows?
That is probably the most you've ever fun facted. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Did.
I don't know. She had a lot of fun facts for grumpy old men.
That was because that was important.
I wasn't
It's a
complaining about
classic.
it.
Well, good on you, Business Insider. You just made life easier for us.
Yeah, and that's really all I want. I don't know why more people don't make things easier for me. On that note, Danny, can you explain to me what this movie's about?
I sure as shit can, because I have seen this movie a million fucking times. This is a comfort movie for Danny.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I'm in a bad mood. Oh, look. Easy A. So this is about Olive Pendergast, who is played by our lovely Emma Stone. She is a fairly normal high school student, and in a way to avoid hanging out with her best friend's family for the weekend because they're really fucking weird, she says that she can't because she has a date. She didn't go on a date, and her friend, when she gets back, takes one random comment out of context and thinks that she lost her virginity to this guy that didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets spread all over the school, and people think she's some sort of harlot for whatever reason.
Like you do.
Like you do.
Because high schoolers are stupid.
Yeah.
So she ends up pretending to sleep with another guy. His name is Brandon. He is gay, and she's just trying to help him get through high school because we all know high school sucks. I actually thought middle school sucked worse, but I didn't particularly like either of them. Anyway, so she then begins to pretend that she's doing all these things with all these different people to up their reputations, and she's kind of getting paid for it. And then she kind of gets persecuted for it, essentially. And all along, there is a guy named Woodchuck Todd in the mix.
I love Woodchuck Todd.
Who is played by a lovely man that I do not know his name, but he is also in the show You.
Yes, he plays the creepy bad guy.
Uh-huh.
Penn
If it makes
Badgley or
Badgley. There you go.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Her parents, because I fucking love them.
yeah, let's go there.
Sure. The hottest Stanley Tucci has ever been in his life.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Seriously.
You can tell we're definitely in our 30s when we're looking at the parents in a movie like this being like, that's where the hot people are.
Fuck yeah.
Especially because, if I remember right, this came out when I was in college.
It came out in 2010. So
There
I've
you
been
go.
pretty much right in the middle.
Right in the middle. So, definitely not the age appropriate choice. But even then, I was like, God damn. Oh my God.
I just love them both. The banter cracks me up. It does feel like it's just those two doing their thing and
Yeah.
them making up shit on the fly half the time.
Well, so I'm rewatching Gilmore Girls because I hadn't watched it probably in 10 years. Not quite. And it definitely, they give off Lorelai Gilmore vibes or everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I could see that.
It's one of my favorite moments ever. Why does that matter? I'm adopted. What? Who told you?
My favorite line is like a throwaway line at the end of a scene when they're eating in the kitchen and the dad, played by the Stanley Tucci, just looks at the son and goes, so where are you from?
Yeah, and he's
From
acting,
originally.
he's got like a green bean or something in
Yeah.
his fingers, and he's acting like he's smoking.
I think my favorite is when Brandon comes over and her mom calls up to her and she says, Olive, you have a gentleman caller.
He's asking for your hand in
marriage.
marriage.
And she's like, oh, I thought I would have to use all my dowry to buy pills and booze to numb the loneliness. that feels like the weird dynamic that my sister and I have with my mom, where just go into these full shticks and no prerequisite information is required. You just, as somebody's going, you go with it.
Yeah, my brother and I also do that, and yeah, a gentleman caller, hooray!
Yeah, exactly. That and the whole like bit about them coming up to her and asking her what she's doing with her homosexual boyfriend.
Yes.
He's not my boyfriend.
I had a homosexual boyfriend once. It's not dad, is it? And then later when the father goes, I was homosexual for a while there.
Yeah. All God's children.
Yes.
I was gay once. We all do it. Yes. I love all of that.
Aside from them being so funny, I also really appreciate the like nuggets of wisdom that they put in. They do it in between the funny bits and everything, but they have the real conversations with her. When she's having the conversation with her mother about, I have this terrible reputation now and everything, and her mom's talking about, she goes, well, I at a time I had a horrible reputation. And she's like, well, why? And she goes, because I was a bit of a slut. Like, she just says it basically. And she's basically like, you got to get through it, and it's going to be fine.
I also like the bit where her dad's been heckling her in her room, and he's like, it sounds like you're having sex up here, but I know that can't be true because you have a homosexual boyfriend.
Yeah, that's when she's cutting apart the A's and sewing them onto her corsets.
And so he spends a whole bunch of time just heckling her like dads are wont to do, and then just leaves with, well, give him hell. And I was like, that's like the nicest thing you can say to a woman who's having a mental breakdown.
I also like the more realistic of her doing that. It's not like she's perfectly fine sewing everything. She's ripping shit apart and cutting herself and poking herself. I'm like, that'd be realistic.
That is how I react when I'm frustrated.
When you rage sew?
Well, I don't often rage sew because let's be honest, my hands would just be bloody.
I rage cross stitch.
I rage do tasks, and then I inevitably fuck them up while I'm doing them, and then get mad about fucking them up because I'm going through them either too fast or jerky, and I know this, and I just keep doing it.
Yeah. I think what I like about the scene with the dad while she's sewing is he does take a beat and go, so what's going on here? Are you okay? And she's just like, yeah. And there's something about working with teenagers, and you really got to balance, right? Do I push it and really try to see what's going on, or I just go, hey, I'm here if you need me. But you're a teenager and you got things.
There was also another part that I found really relatable, and this wasn't the relationship I had with my parents early on in school, but it kind of developed into it, where when Olive gets detention for saying the word twat, the scandal.
It's my favorite swear word ever. I don't often use it because it makes me laugh.
I don't use it because like if I ever do, it's always paired with waffle now. It's twat waffle.
Of course, it has to be.
Anyway, but so she gets detention and she's explaining that to her parents, does the whole like spell it with the P's thing. And she asks them, if this was a regular occurrence, what would my punishment be? And they would be like, no more dinner, young lady.
Go to bed without dinner.
And she's like, I'm already done. Well, then no dating. Right? And I don't know. Part of why I think that scene is so funny is because I got detention. I shit you not. This is a real story. I got detention for saying the word peeing. And like was offered, it's a long story, so I'm not going to go into that, but was offered by the principal that I could either like go apologize to this teacher that I said the word peeing in front of, not to, by the way, just in front of, or I could do morning detention. I was like, guess who's doing morning detention? And my mom was like, keep in mind she teaches at the school that I'm at, so like had to have been hella embarrassing for her. She was just like, yeah, I mean, do what you got to do, because that's insane.
We definitely went to vastly different schools.
Yeah. Let's just say the feisty craziness of it all really slaps in this movie. Okay, but can we talk about her best friend's parents real quick?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Ree's parents are a problem. They're a real problem. They're the type of people that are like, we're just like, we're so one with the universe. And you're like, I wish you weren't one with my universe. You need to step back.
Well, it's a pretty big problem when you are having dinner with not only your daughter, but her friend, and you're like, clothes optional.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That's wild. What?
And then they pass her a bong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. When her boob touches her face, I'm like, the fact that you just continued to sit there shows a level of restraint I've never had in my entire life.
How many times do you think they started laughing?
Oh my
Doing
God.
that scene?
Yeah.
Right.
I think as a high schooler, I would have done the not fight, flight, but froze. And I would have done that same option of I'm just going to sit here until everybody goes away.
If I walked in and saw I saw my friend's parents naked, the very first reaction I have is, my mom said I couldn't go out tonight. I made a grave error.
I definitely would have done the cough. I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling well.
Yeah.
When I was in high school. Now I'd be like, bitch, I'm not going to be here. Bye. I care
No.
not
If
at
I
all.
walked into anyone's house for dinner and they're butt ass naked, I'm gonna be like, hey, I gotta go.
I do not consent to this situation.
None of that. None of that.
I mean, you do you. It's your house. Live your best life.
But then don't invite me over, you fucking psychos.
I'm not going to be here.
Like, what?
I've also now surrounded myself with friends that I don't have to lie to. You've asked me to go out before, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. No.
And that's fine.
I just don't. I can't.
For the record, it's not because when she comes over, I'm naked.
No.
I want to be clear.
No.
It's because when we come over, you're not naked.
Oh, well, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
I'll do better next time.
That's what I want.
Just
Your poor sister would be traumatized.
Honestly, I'll do what it takes, you guys. I just want you to love me. So here's my thing with Rhiannon's parents and Rhee's reaction to all of that is you can't tell me you don't think your own parents are weird. You're dressed.
Yeah.
For Rhee, yeah, she has to.
Right?
There's no way.
She's been around enough of her friends' parents and stuff. She has to know that this is just fucking weird.
Well, and here's the honestly the biggest plot hole for me in this entire movie that the whole premise of how all this comes up of her supposedly having lost her virginity and all that is that Olive, to get out of this, tells Rhee that she's like, no, I don't think I can go camping with your weird ass fucking family. I'm going on a date, and then says that the said date is with her brother's roommate. Okay, that's fine. Except there's no evidence of her having an older brother in the house. They never talk about her having an older brother. The only brother she has seems to be her younger adopted brother.
Yeah, and I purposely watched very closely when they were in the house this time to see if there was pictures of the 5 of them or something, and I didn't see anything.
Right. And so it means one of two things. Either they we're just going to throw this excuse in here and no one's going to notice, no one's going to care. Or two, and I think this is probably the case, is the assumption you're supposed to take away from that is that Rhiannon knows as little about Olive as she possibly can, to the point that she doesn't know that Olive doesn't have an older brother.
I don't think that's believable, though. They've been best friends all the way through middle school and into high school. There's no way that Rhee wouldn't know her brother's situation.
I've met some people who genuinely know nothing about the people they claim to be their best friends.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Liz, but at the same time, I do know people that are so self-centered that they don't really know anything about
But
the
it's
other
different
people.
when you're in high school, right? It's one thing to I don't know how many siblings one of my friends from when I worked at my previous job, who I'm still friends with, I know he has some. I don't know the exact number, but when you're in high school, you know all of that because you are spending time at each other's houses, or at least, oh, that's my brother who's 2 years older than me in the same school that I'm in.
I will make the argument that so he's supposed to be a freshman in college.
Mm-hmm.
That means Olive is really only a year younger than him.
Right,
So
they should
he
have been
would
in the same school
They
together.
should have been in the same school.
Right. So how is it that it just either they really, really, really fucked up on that one and then didn't give us any evidence that this brother exists. But even when she's in her confessional and tell all, she doesn't mention this brother, right?
What would she mention though of him?
that my brother had no idea what was going on, and I didn't go to visit my brother. She doesn't even say I didn't go to visit my brother when she's talking about what she actually did on that weekend. So I don't think she has a brother, an older brother. I really don't think she does. And Ree just doesn't bother to ask because she doesn't actually listen to Olive when she's talking to her.
Oh, she might not actually listen to Olive.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't listen to Olive ever.
Here's another question though. Are we misremembering it? Did she say brother or did she say like cousin or something?
No,
Brother.
she said brother.
Okay.
Because this has bothered me for a while.
Okay. Because I didn't remember. I knew it was just a family member in a college.
Yes. Yeah. So, I think they are kind of intentionally demonstrating how wild it is, the amount of not listening to her that she does.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Well-
maybe she does know that Olive doesn't have a brother, but didn't pay attention to that part.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, it does really come across, at least to me, that Olive and Ree's relationship is we're the two outcasts and so we're friends and not
Mm-hmm.
like we actually are really good friends with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Except that they don't really seem to be that level of outcast. Like they aren't like the popular group, I guess. But even the popular group doesn't really seem to be established in this movie. The only real group that you get that's a driving force to be the antagonist against Olive is the Feisty Christy group.
Mm-hmm. That changed the name of the mascot, which is just
From Blue Devils to
woodchucks.
Yeah.
So I know it's for the comedy, but you could have picked so many other things that are better than woodchuck. If you have to get away from Blue Devils, be like, I don't know, anything else. Literally any other predatory animal. Just anything.
A predatory animal at all?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that that I could see Feisty Christies being like, we need to be something that's gentle.
Woodchucks are very inspiring
Yeah,
for your basketball team.
I feel very inspired. Honestly, and I say this with not a hint of irony, my favorite part of the whole fucking movie is him going, hi, 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 hi.
Hey, Todd's really into being the mascot.
He
It's
tries
important.
real hard.
Yes.
And, you know, obviously this is a different school than the ones we went to, but I never knew who the mascots ever were. So why this man's popular for being the mascot?
I always assumed it was like a teacher.
I don't know.
I didn't think about it.
Should we talk about Woodchuck Todd since we've now been?
Well, this is a romance podcast and he is the romantic lead.
Yep.
Like this movie very much wanted to emulate the like 80s John Hughes style and they nailed it. Like
Yeah.
They did. Yep.
the romantic male lead in most of those is really just there for like the girl to pine over and then
He's
eventually
window
get to
dressing.
kiss at the end.
Sure,
Right?
yeah.
So that's like he did his part.
But he had words of wisdom. I
He
loved
did.
his personality when he was talking to her. He was fabulous.
My sister made a really good point when we were watching it. She was like, I can't imagine having a guy come up to me like that when I'm having these horrible moments and make sure I'm okay and still going, he probably isn't into me.
Right?
Okay, but that's like outside looking in.
It's true.
Let's
He is-
rewind the clock a little. Imagine high school, college. How often did our dumbasses go, he really probably doesn't. He's not into me, or he's not
That's
like.
true.
I'd still do that now.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, I know.
He does do it fairly subtly. It's usually kind of a drive-by, are you okay?
Yes.
Until the big one at the restaurant when he's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
get in the car, please.
Yeah.
Let me take you home.
Mm-hmm. Because he's a gentleman like that.
He is a gentleman.
Well, and there's a big difference. It's not like he really came up to her before that and went, hey, you seem to be like going through some shit. You need to talk. It was more just like hey, how's it going? Joke, 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 joke. Okay,
Stay
bye.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, like, that's basically like high school, you're in love now.
Yep.
No, I thought he was cute. I really liked the scene when he's driven her home and they've sort of had this like awkward confessional of
Mhm.
we like each other kind of thing. And he goes in for the kiss and she's like, no. And he's sort of dejected, but he's like, okay, I accept that, you know. And she's like, no, I don't mean like no, not ever. I mean, no, right now I'm like, my mascara's running. I've been crying. I'm miserable. And I don't want this to be our first kiss. And he's like, that tracks.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing is that she pretended to kiss him when they were middle schoolers playing 7 Minutes in Heaven because he wasn't ready to, so she pretended.
Well,
She's like, nobody cared when I pretended to kiss Todd. Apparently, people care a lot more when you pretend to lose your virginity.
Yeah. Well, you know, here's the thing, and maybe it's too early for this conversation, but
go for it.
This movie, I feel like at the time, early 2010s, was just trying to like make fun of the purity culture that we lived in, right? But what they've unintentionally done is create a movie that is about the cost of doing emotional labor for men.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because she does all of this out of the kindness of her heart. She takes on this like horrible reputation, with the exception of like the losing her virginity thing. But even that is because she just wants Ree to pay attention to her. So it's not really even her trying to get like attention from this big group of people. She just wants attention from her best friend, who is obsessed with guys and therefore doesn't listen to what she has to say.
Well, not only that, like not listening to her and then Olive just kind of like going along with it, but also then Reed tells everybody.
Yes.
No, it's Marianne who tells everyone.
She at least tells one other person.
Marianne tells everybody, but Ree relishes in being a part of the gossip.
Yeah.
And you see that when the reason she's mad after Olive and Brandon have their fake orgasms together is not that Olive is sleeping with a gay guy and she needs to check in with her and be like, are you sure that's what you want to be doing? Are you okay? Can you explain to me what's going on? No.
That would be the conversations we would be having.
Right? We would be like, I guess, is he bi? Like, what, how did we land here?
Or are you guys just experimenting? You're in high school. That happens.
Yeah. Like, I get it.
I support you, but like, talk to me. What's going on in that brain of yours?
Right. None of that. Or even just like, Olive, you are getting a reputation. Are you like okay with that? Like, this is becoming the talk of the town, right? Even just that. No, instead she's mad that she was late to the gossip train.
Yeah, she was mad she wasn't there. She was mad that she wasn't a part of it.
Or that she didn't know what was going on beforehand.
Right. So that she could be the one with the tea to spread to other people, because she says, I think it's Brandy Rudeski. I remember the last name because of the way she says it. And she's like, I had to hear from Brandy Rudetsky. Do you know how embarrassing that is? And it's like, what? You want to back that up and say that again? You're really gonna stand there, and that's the take you want to have, that it's embarrassing that you heard from somebody else about something your friend was doing.
Well, and not that, oh, this is terrifically out of character for, why would Olive be going to a party that I didn't even know she was going to? Then she's going with somebody who I didn't know she was hanging out with. And then they, not only do they have sex, they do it in this raucous, loud way.
Right.
So,
in the middle of a party.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, it's like, okay, friend, none of this is adding up. What is happening?
It makes me think that you really don't know anything about her because it's so out of character for her.
Yeah.
And yet on the other side, the sympathetic part of me towards Ree reads it also as, why are you leaving me out? Why are you leaving me behind?
Well, I mean, that is also true, because the other thing is Olive completely shuts her out. And yeah, it's a shitty thing that Ree does, where she kind of just like talks over her all the time and like makes up things like the original story of her losing her virginity. But to then have your friend just like completely shut you out and go down this entire path where everybody, according to what everybody believes, is she is prostituting herself.
Yes.
And like, yeah, that would be really upsetting.
Right. And instead of having a relationship with this so-called best friend of yours, where you can sit her down and say, look, you got to tell me what's going on. Your reaction is to join the group that's making her out to be some kind of leper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting back to my original point about this being a perfect example of like a woman reducing her life and the things going on in her life in order to provide this emotional labor for men, like the things that she does, the longer you watch, the more you're like, I don't care what you have to do to stop, but you have to stop giving them this.
Yeah.
Like, it's implied that she's giving away a sex and everything, and like, do with your body what you want to do. That ain't my problem.
Yeah, we ain't slut shamers here.
No, do what you want to do. But like, it starts off, and this I think was the most poignant part of the movie, where after she's done this whole fake sexcapade with Brandon, this other guy comes up to her, and Brandon has told him what really happened and wants to have the same deal and even offers to pay her.
Yeah.
And so she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I did that for a friend one time. This is not like a thing. And then throws in her face, I could just tell everybody you did anyway with the way you're going, which is I wish it was insane. But then the point where I get so I don't even know, like angry, frustrated, a million emotions, right, is somehow like Olive's like heartstrings are pulled when he's like sadly eating a fucking candy bar by the side of the pool, and decides that she will do this for him in the way that she's going to control. And she tells him, if you just asked me out like a gentleman, I might have fucking said yes. And he's like, oh really? Do you want to go out? And she's like, not now, I don't shit dick. Like, oh, that hits so fucking hard. This idea that like, anyway. Oh.
Well, that's if you really want to start really digging into it, right? That's such a common thing where women will give of themselves, right? Because we're the caretakers, and that's what we're taught to do. So when you see somebody who is downtrodden, you're willing to sacrifice something of yourself to give it to them.
I was about to make some snarky comment that no, I won't. I'm the worst.
I was like, what are you
of the three of us? I'm the worst as far as that is concerned. So I take it back. There is no snark to be had. I'm not that way at all.
And then it just keeps getting worse and worse for Olive, because it starts out with getting like this gift card and a dildo from Brandon, and then eventually at the end she got like coupons to Bed Bath and Beyond so she could save $1 or whatever on some
70 cents on some hand sanitizer.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing is, they feel entitled to that now.
Yeah.
And it's so infuriating. The whole, like everything in that whole sequence that she has, you just go, stop helping these men. Stop. They're not nice guys. They're not nice guys. And then that gets reinforced at the end where none of them will stick up for her and say, actually, none of this was true.
Yeah. She goes back to the same guy from the pool. And says, hey, because things have gotten way out of control. She's getting shamed
protesting her.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. My life's so much better now. And she's like, but my life is awful.
And he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, and to top it all off, she then does this also for a teacher.
Yeah.
Because the school counselor has been sleeping with the biggest feisty Christie's boyfriend, who is of age. He's like a 6th year senior or something like that.
Right. So just because it's legal doesn't make it right.
No, it does not make it right. But someone gave someone chlamydia. And so she then lets her heartstrings get pulled, because this is also her favorite teacher's wife.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, well, he owes me big time, but you can tell them that I gave him chlamydia. It's like, no, girl, no, stop.
Yeah.
Right?
We draw the line at imaginary STDs.
She fully giving trees her way through this entire story.
Well, that's the thing though, is like, where do you draw the line when you just kind of like keep doing it and doing it and doing it? When do you go, well, that's too much?
Well, and then, eventually it gets to arguably the worst part of her story, which is that she thinks she is being asked out on a legitimate date. And she knows that really nothing can happen with it because this is Ree's crush, but she's just excited to be asked out on a date, which every girl in high school is. You want to be noticed, you want people to like you, right? And only to find out that he missed the part of the message where she's pretending to have sex with these people for money, and gives her a $200 gift card to Home Depot or some shit.
Yeah.
And then just is like, whatever, this will buy me, and continues even after she tells him no 2 or 3 times to push the issue.
He shoves his tongue down her throat.
Yes.
And that's when Lobster Todd comes to the rescue.
Yeah. And
It is a favorite moment where he's like, I paid you. And she flicks it back at him. She goes, now you didn't. And walks away. I'm like, oh, thank God.
well, and the thing is, this is a PG-13, kind of movie. So we get that happy result,
Yeah.
which is not happy, but is way better than the alternative.
And what reality probably would have been.
Yes. Yeah. And so the other part of it, the insidious half of it that they don't really speak out loud, but is implied, is that not only are these boys she's in school with feeling entitled to pretend they're having sex with her, now they're starting to feel entitled to actually having sex with her. And so if she doesn't do this like big video diary reveal at the end, I don't know that she's not going to get more of that. Even with her dating Woodchuck Todd.
Well, and the other story here too is how quickly gossip spreads. So is she a senior?
Yes, she's
'cause
17.
The pocket full of sunshine is a graduation card, which I laughed so hard at because it's got $5 in it.
$5.
I got you this $5 for your graduation.
That's a
Thanks.
very, very classic, like aunt, uncle,
Mm-hmm.
grandma sometimes even.
Yeah.
But so gossip spreads, and let's say she decides instead to do of this video diary to just be like, screw it, I'm just gonna write it out, graduate, and go away. Depending on where you go, you're gonna be going to a college with other classmates, and
follows
that
you.
gossip can keep on a spreading.
Yep. And she points out how quickly the gossip did spread,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden people, the same day that, her and Ree had that conversation in the bathroom, and Marianne started spreading it around, that same day people are looking at her.
So the other thing that like really annoys me is that Brandon is a very sympathetic character. To be gay, especially in 2010,
Yep.
in high school, like all you wanted to do was just fade into the background and hope that when you go to college things are better. But he fucks up so hard when, after they make this deal and Olive says, we're not telling anybody, like this is just a you and me thing, he fucking like the next day goes and tells that kid.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he dips out.
Yeah.
He runs away from home to be with a boyfriend, and he's not there to help. Like he would have told the truth. He would have done it.
Hopefully. I mean, but
Yeah.
self-preservation is a really
I know.
big thing in high school. Well, we're talking about all of the people that have done Olive wrong, but there's one person who did her wrong the mostest, and that was the adult that did her wrong. The guidance counselor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, she's also like, yes, I get it. He's of age, but that's also still very predatory behavior.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is 100%
sure.
grooming. Like, and she's like,
The power imbalance is insane there.
right. Absolutely no way that ever should have happened. There's a reason you should lose your job. Right. And also just the way she is interacting with students, we can't really know for sure because our sample size is Olive and Marianne. But like when she's talking to her husband about Marianne, she says that stuck up
Jesus freak.
yeah. And when she's talking to Olive, she isn't listening to her at all.
No.
And just dumps some condoms in her hand.
She's
Great
like,
guidance.
Yeah. I've known guidance counselors like her. Not
Same.
necessarily the like sexual aspect of it, but just like you're really not listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which, and here it's like not necessarily an excuse, but definitely an acknowledgement of where we're at with things, is the overtaxed reality of people in these positions is that
Yeah.
they have to turn it out like a machine because there's some other student that needs their help coming in 10 minutes also.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? We do not give our schools enough support to give our students enough support.
Yes, and I want to make it clear, I am not bashing guidance counselors at all, because there are wonderful guidance counselors in the world who are really trying to make a difference, but they are very taxed in our school systems. Our teachers are very taxed in our school systems.
Yes.
And the other thing too, we're talking about the power imbalance between the guidance counselor and the student that she's having an affair with. But even when she's talking to Olive, not the condom time, but the next time, and they're talking, like she's admitting, just like word vomiting this affair and like being so dramatic, which I'm sure it's a very overwhelming situation to realize your affair is about to come out and you're going to lose your job and your husband. And she's saying things that you don't say to a student at all. And of course, Olive's reaction is to be like, well, I can help you because she's a kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
She doesn't know how to recognize when somebody needs to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yep. Her prefrontal cortex is not done cooking.
No.
And she doesn't want to, like, when she sees the guidance counselor who is married to her favorite teacher, when she sees that their marriage could end, and she's like, well, I don't want my favorite teacher to be hurt. And it's like, girl, you gotta just let them figure it out.
Well, and that's damage that you had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Regardless of who she did it with, she cheated on him, right? Like it's way fucking worse that it's a student.
Well, and she still apologizes later to him, saying that this isn't the way you should have found out, which it's not, but she was reacting at that point. And she's like, I am so sorry with my actions. I ruined a marriage. And it's like, no,
You
honey,
did not.
you did not ruin anything. She ruined her marriage.
Well, and there's a little bit of like not understanding how reality works going on here, because it's like, ma'am, what you did was super awkward and not great, sure, but then you were like, what if I tell the entire school?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And she threatens the principal with the guidance counselor, which cracks me up.
which probably doesn't work anymore when you tell everyone what she did, but whatever.
Yeah.
We're suspending reality.
Also, he needed to know because he needed to get himself tested.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. If he is confident that he doesn't have chlamydia, that means that this boy is not the first person.
No. Yeah.
So, yikes.
There's also like when the guidance counselor goes on her rant to Olive about her marriage ending, and she says something like, oh, it hasn't been, great for a while. We haven't had sex in months. And I'm just like, A, don't tell it to a student at all. But B, months, it ain't that long.
Yeah.
Just like fucking have a conversation about it. Go to couples counseling. Like,
And he clearly wants to.
yeah.
Like, the only interaction we get with the two of them before that, he's pawing all over her. And she's just like, no, don't touch me. No, don't touch me.
Which I can understand. They are in a school setting. Like, I probably would be like, too.
Right.
I might not be a good judge on that because I'm not.
Well, but you're not wrong. You should like
touchy.
sure, like chaste like interactions where students could see you only.
Right.
Holding hand, fine. But like
A little peck, okay.
a little peck, fine. Or a kiss on the cheek, fine. But
Grabbing
like,
my ass? No.
don't be
No.
grabbing my ass in a school setting. That's inappropriate.
Right. So, yes, there is that aspect to it where it's like, yeah, he maybe shouldn't be doing that. But this is like sort of a weakness I see in the movie, is that they refuse to use very many locations. And so like
Yeah.
they had to set it up at the school because there was nowhere else for them to set it up. And
It's true. It's like Olive's house, the school, that like overlook area, and then Melanie Bostick's house.
yes. There's a couple of other random places like the churches she goes to and like
The ice cream shop.
yeah, but yeah. And the other part of it is then when he watches her video, I assume out of the like a good space he's coming to the table with, where he's like
He
wants
knows
to
she's
check
not
in
gonna
on her.
do that.
Right.
She heavily implies that she's gonna fuck Todd.
Yes. He watches it at the school,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, why would you do that?
I am guessing because he doesn't want to be at home.
But his wife is there.
I don't know. I wonder if the lack of locations is almost a little bit intentional to make it feel very like in this microcosm bubble.
Well,
It also makes it feel like a John Hughes movie. There was not very many
yeah.
locations in most of those.
I think also it's one of those things where I don't feel this, but I know people have expressed this, that there's this weird feeling seeing your teachers outside of the school. Like it feels like they don't make sense there.
They don't make sense there. They don't belong there.
Yeah.
It's different when your parent's one of the teachers.
Yeah.
It's not just the guidance counselor who is failing her in her life. It's also almost every adult including her parents. Like, we talk about how great they are, and they are, but they are sort of treading on the side of like, until it's a problem, it's not a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And as far as like her favorite teacher, he does check in on her, but also isn't very like, hey, I don't think you should be doing this, very firmly. He's just sort of like, well, if this is what you're going to do, okay. The principal, useless. Like,
Oh God,
just
he's so
completely useless. And then when she goes to seek, spiritual guidance, what she is confronted with is literally her enemy's father.
Mm-hmm. And she goes to a Catholic church first, and then I don't know why she just assumes that the priest lives in the confessional. That's not a thing, but
Because when you're not Catholic, you don't know.
It's true. But
you
there
know?
are offices there too. Like, why didn't you go look for an office?
I know, but that, like, as somebody who has only set foot into a Catholic church on a handful of times, media really leads you astray on that stuff. Because in the
I will
media,
agree
there's
with
always
that.
somebody there.
I will agree with that. But there are offices, for anyone listening, there are offices in Catholic churches. I'm not suggesting you go to one, because I certainly am not going to, and I was raised Catholic. But there are offices. Should you need to speak with somebody, they'll find you someone.
There isn't just a priest trapped in a box waiting for somebody to come.
And he's
and
probably
talk to
also
them.
not in priestly garb.
Yeah.
A lot of slacks going on.
Well, yeah.
Well, if they're Catholic, usually, I say this with a grain of salt because there are some who aren't, but usually they got the collar on.
That's true. They do usually have the collar on.
Mm-hmm.
At least her teacher, though, her favorite teacher does send her to or has the guidance counselor go talk to her. And since at that point in time, he was still thinking he had a good marriage with his wife, he probably trusted his wife to be like, hey, this kid needs some help.
I will say that, yeah, he does say, hey, can you check in with her? I think she's going through some stuff. I don't think he realized how terrible she was at her job.
No. I think he would be kind of horrified. Even if she wasn't dabbling with her students, I think he would be horrified at what she does as a guidance counselor.
Now, I'm not saying that guidance counselors shouldn't pass out condoms. I think it's actually probably a really good resource, but like, you need to actually listen to what's going on and not just be like, I'm going to toss condoms at you like it's confetti.
The other thing, though, too, with that is he is a male teacher, so he probably shouldn't be talking to his female student about her sexual activity.
Yes.
Agreed.
But I think he was operating under the assumption that it was a lot of hearsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I had a student show up in a costume every day, it doesn't matter what that costume is.
True.
I got concerns.
That is true. The clothes that Olive eventually starts wearing, everybody should have went, hey, what's up with that? Also, you can wear that to school?
I was going to say, how the fuck is she not getting dress coded?
All those shoulders out there.
I know.
The shoulders. I mean, don't get me wrong. She looks stunning. She looks gorgeous. But like, at one point she's like, if this is about my outfit per the dress code, I'm like, how is this in dress code?
Apparently, they only care about the length of your skirt and shorts, and hers never came up past her fingertips.
That is a thing that they get all upset about.
Which also, there were definitely outfits that they absolutely did.
Oh, yeah.
She
her fucking normal gym clothes.
Right?
Her
How
shorts were
like-
so fucking short.
And here's the thing, like, how is the gym teacher not like, roll your goddamn shorts down? Because I promise you, the gym teachers that I had would have been like, what are you wearing? What? No, get out of here. Go put something real on. No.
I never would, but I also have really fat thighs, and chub rub is real.
Ain't that the truth?
It never would have been an issue for me because I don't like my thighs all that much, even when I wear dresses, which are always to my knees, if not longer. There is shorts on underneath them.
Although I will say, the rolled up t-shirt sleeves is a millennial classic.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I do that.
Oh,
I do
but-
that now.
Rolling the waistband down on your shorts is a millennial classic as well.
Yeah, just not enough to the point where your shorts are basically underwear.
Well, yeah.
I do love all the like nods to the John Hughes moments. There's the random music number for no reason whatsoever. And, Todd with his speakers on top of the lawnmower. Instead of holding a boombox, it's just two speakers.
Which are screaming early 2010s.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, oh, they are wired speakers even, bud.
Gross. So bad. Yeah.
Throwing up at the fist as
y-
they're driving away.
Yeah. Well, and they weren't trying to be subtle, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
if they
no.
were trying to be subtle, I would have been like, just call a spade, you know?
They were being so overt that Olive literally said like a John Hughes romance multiple times.
I want him outside the church for me, like in 16 Candles.
I think that's like the one I would want the least to happen in my life.
Yeah, it's true.
But
It does make me want to watch Breakfast Club again, though.
I haven't watched that one in a long time.
I haven't either.
I haven't watched any of those in a very long time.
Yeah. But, she does get her happy ending, mostly. One can assume it rolls to credits before we get to see the consequences of her faking people out, that she's going to do a live porno. We assume it's a happy ending. Yay!
Yeah, the consequences of her actions of doing this tell-all have to be pretty high, though.
Right?
I would think so.
Yeah. Even just from her parents being like, well, maybe we need to stay home for a while. Maybe you're grounded.
Yeah, I think maybe this demands grounding. I think we gotta actually put our foot down on this. But also, like, Marianne, obviously her relationship with her boyfriend is hopefully shattered. If it's not, girl needs standards.
Right.
Well, he's living with his grandparents or something, right?
Yeah, in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, she's forced to deal with Olive describing her in a very, very negative light. Probably in a way that she hasn't heard because she keeps herself to a very specific bubble.
Yep.
Ree can't possibly be happy with how she's portrayed in this version of events.
Yeah.
All the guys that she outed for having done this, that she previously like vouched for, there's gonna be consequences. There just are for her outing Ansel for trying to assault her. So like she's not gonna get away with this scot-free just because she told the truth about everything, unfortunately, if it was real life.
I think on the plus side is they are fairly close to graduation, because as we've previously stated, that card is a graduation card, so at least she maybe doesn't have much longer in the school, but there's still going to be consequences, and even in a state like California, it's a small world.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, she and Todd at least had, a couple of good dates.
I choose to believe her and Lobster Todd are married to this day.
Well, it is high school, so...
Yeah, I know.
I have a feeling, like, if I were to predict their outcome, they go to different colleges and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
That's probably the most realistic outcome.
Maybe later in life they get a second chance romance and they talk about that time that they pretended that they were going to bang and they had a whole musical number.
Where she popped out of a pile of wood.
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, that was a good time. You want to have actual good times? And
do you remember that time that you told the entire school you might lose your actual virginity to me? Yeah, that was something I had to deal with.
that was something I really had to process. It wasn't my favorite. There could have been other ways that went.
We could have just not mentioned any of that.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessary.
Yeah, and so I think after some snark and some banging it out, they end up together then. That's my prediction.
Well,
Write that book.
I think there's not really a way to not just fan fiction it and tell the future story of what took Todd and Olive. So I don't think I can quite make that into a book.
The one thing we really didn't mention is the constant references to the Scarlet Letter.
I think it's because it's so overt.
Yeah.
Right? Like it wasn't even just like, oh, we're not trying to be subtle. It was also like we're
studying it in class.
Yeah.
And she flat out says she's doing an experiment to see how Hester really felt.
Yeah.
One of the fun facts I forgot to mention is when she goes to that foreign film festival and it's like Der Schrutz or whatever. That's the German Scarlet Letter.
Oh,
look at you.
Yeah.
Now you're mixing in your fun facts in the middle of the podcast.
Wow. Y'all better stand back.
Yeah, you're really taking off here.
Yeah, I'm sneaky that way. That's what I'm known for. Sneaky Wiggles. That's what they always call me.
No, they haven't.
Don't lie to the people, Danny.
I was like, I must not know this they that you speak of, but I'm in communication with a lot of the people that you know.
The people.
Just the people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
No.
So, I'm starting to think it might be a certain time. That time might be a ratings time.
Nice.
It makes me so happy. So, what is your spice rating?
I mean, it's sort of complicated, isn't it? 'Cause,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
on the surface, it's 0. But
Right.
then when you're like, but the whole thing is, the whole plot is based around sex. Not having it, yes, but it is all based around sex.
Well, I think by the definition of spice, we would have to say it is that there is sex on the page, and in this case, on the screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
There-
because of that,
I mean, there isn't even really a great kiss by any means.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So 0.
Yeah, we'll go with 0.
Yeah, 0.
Gamble, gamble.
Oh boy, your romance rating.
It's it is cute, their little romance, and I do like it, and I was rooting for them, so I'm going to give it a solid 2.5.
I same. It's not. We don't get enough of their time together to make it any higher than that for me.
Yeah,
Because it's not. Movie isn't based on their relationship. It's just kind of a happy outcome of their situation.
yeah. I guess I always forget that there's even a romance in it. Every time you guys brought it up as a potential, I was like, wait a minute, there's romance in that movie? But the car scene is very cute, so I'm going to give it a 2.
Fair enough. Overall,
This is a 5 out of 5 for me. I love Easy A. Like I said, it's a comfort movie for me, and it makes me laugh every single fucking time, even though I can say the words bit by bit.
I really like this one as well. So I'm gonna go with 4.5 because I think it holds up. Not all movies, especially teen movies, made at that time held up.
True.
I'm also going to agree with a 4.5. And I don't need to say anything else. You guys said all the things. So we did it.
Look at us go.
Woo!
We're so cool.
Oh my gosh. What are your guys' recommendations?
Oh, I don't even know what to write.
I have so many.
I have a few as well.
I'm just gonna go Breakfast Club because
That's a fair, yeah.
Yeah, John Hughes. I'm going to go with 10 Things I Hate About You because 10 Things I Hate About You walked so easy it could run.
it's
fair. You're just doing one?
I'm just going to do one.
Oh, but you have so many, you said.
Just because I have them doesn't mean I give them all away for free.
true.
Everything we do here is for free. Well, my recommendation is Saved.
Ugh, classic.
Yeah.
Love it. I am filled with Christ's love. Ugh. Yeah, if you haven't seen Saved, I don't care what age you are, go fucking watch that movie.
I haven't seen it.
Especially
Oh my God.
especially if you are a lapsed Catholic. This is specifically or Christian. Because I think technically they're not Catholic. This is for you. Go watch it. It hit so well.
Except she actually is. She actually did lose her virginity in
She
that
sure
one.
did. She sure did.
To her gay boyfriend.
To her gay boyfriend, who has a boyfriend,
Yeah.
but she also has a boyfriend. It's a very like, ooh, what's happening? And her boyfriend, her ex-best friend, has a crush on him. And she is sisters to her new close friend who is dating her new best friend.
Yeah. So
This
it's
is
very,
all true information.
which also makes it very high school. Like everybody is just like
Yes.
running into everybody. Okay. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of the episode. If you liked this, you can find us out there on the socials at Wrong Dust Jackets, or you can go to our website, wrongdustjackets.com, where you can find a list of a whole bunch of things that we've talked about in previous episodes, as well as the list of upcoming episodes we have and our blog post. Who knows what you'll find there. And we would absolutely love it if you would like, rate, review, comment, whatever is available to you on the podcast listening app of your choice. And yeah, so thanks and bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.